Hello. Happy Wednesday. I'm glad you're here. First, I have a knock knock joke for you. Are you ready? Don't roll your eyes at me. Knock knock. Read Denny. Read any good books lately? I know, it's so hilarious. All right, so on my screen, you should be able to see today's assignment. Let me get rid of this video. That's not the right one. All right, so anyway, today's assignment, you're going to read your Common Lit assignment, and you're going to answer the questions for that. Remember that when you get to that writing part, just type something, type hi, type whatever you're feeling. You don't have to actually answer that question, but you have to type something to be able to submit that question. So today your options are you can buddy read this story and talk the questions through together like we've done in class. And that would require you to, video chat or call one of your friends and work through it with them. Just make sure that no matter which option you choose, you answer the questions in your account, signed in as your account, so that I can see that you did it. Your other option is to just do it by yourself. Do it, get it over with, answer the questions, submit it. And your third option is to finish watching this video, and we're going to go through it together here. So you choose which one you want to do, and then we'll go from there. So if you're sticking with me, my friends, I'm going over to Common Lit. I just want to share with you that mine is going to look a little bit different because I have the teacher account. But otherwise, remember that we can go here. You can go here and you can make your font size bigger. You can also have it read aloud to you if you'd rather do that, or you can listen to me read it, which is what I'm about to do now. All right. Here we go. Getting started on saving the Everglades is our article today. Sometimes we only appreciate something when we realize we may lose it. That is the story of the Everglades, a shallow, slow-moving river. The Everglades once covered about 18,000 square miles of southern Florida. Until the 1900s, few people lived in the grassy wetlands. Let's see what that means. A land or areas covered in shallow water. Okay, kind of like this picture. Not much was understood about the unique balance of nature that existed there. Plants and creatures and waters had formed a remarkable ecosystem. An ecosystem is a physical environment and the creatures that live in it. Okay. South Florida has two seasons, a dry season and a wet season. During the wet season, from April to November, rain historically saturated to thoroughly soak the land. It also filled Lake Okeechobee in central Florida. When it rained a lot, the lake overflowed its southern banks. It created sheet flow. I wonder what sheet flow is. Oh, look, the author's about to tell me. Sheet flow is water flowing in a thin layer over the landscape. In this case, the water traveled slowly southward over Florida's flat limestone shelf to Florida Bay. All right, here we are. You won't be able to see the rest of this on your account without answering question 1. So here we go. What happens once a year in southern Florida? Let's see. During the wet season, rain historically saturated the land. It also fills the lake. When it rained a lot, it overflowed. Okay. It goes a long time without rain. No. The bodies of water in Florida dry up. It didn't say anything about that. The lake overflows from rain. Oh, it did talk about that. It experiences great plant growth. Well, that wasn't mentioned. What do you think? You're right. I'm going to go with C. Yeah, great. We got it. All right, let's continue reading until we get to question 2. By the early 1900s, Florida's pleasant winters attracted more people. Visitors became new permanent residents. They built homes and roads. The conditions looked good for farming, so the newcomers planted large agricultural crops. Related to farming, we learned that word in science. But South Florida's cycle of flooding was a problem. To address that, developers attempted to drain the land. They also built structures to control water levels and flow. Those changes made it easier for more people to live year-round in South Florida. They also disrupted life in the Everglades. The Everglades depends on fresh water regularly replenishing to fill something up again. The land. But the area's growing human population needed fresh water too, and large farms consumed to use up as a resource large quantities of fresh water. Okay, so it sounds like the fresh water was being taken all in by the farms and wasn't actually making it to the lands where it needed to go. By the mid-1900s, Lake Okeechobee did not collect enough water to overflow and form sheet flow. Water levels in southern Florida began to shrink. A few new residents saw the Everglades as more than a vast marshland. An area of land that is flooded during rainy seasons and remains wet. They saw that the Everglades was being harmed. Lack of fresh water wasn't the only problem. As more and more land was developed for people and farms, the Everglades' historic boundaries shrank. The loss of habitat and hunting threatened the survival of native species, plants or animals that grow or are born in the specific area in the Everglades. Okay, so they ended up losing land. It said the border shrank, so they lost land and probably lost some species too. All right, so we're going to answer question 2. What happened when humans started to control the water flow in the Everglades? It didn't get the fresh water it needed. Yeah. Land was protected from flooding. I would say not land, but people's homes were protected from flooding. So that's why I don't think that's a good answer. Humans ran out of fresh water. No. Farming crops started to dry up. What do you think? Because this is what happened in the Everglades. So I'm going to pick A. All right, great. Let's keep reading. In the early 1900s, the federal government had set aside large natural spaces in the West as public parks. Some people had hoped that federal recognition might save the Everglades. They fought for it. Everglades National Park was established in 1947. It is the largest wilderness area east of the Mississippi. It became the first park in the United States created for its biodiversity. An environment with many different types of plants and animals. So remember, word nerd, we talked about how bio means life and diversity means how things are different. So that makes sense. Today, people understand that the changes made to the land nearly 100 years ago are jeopardizing the Everglades' future. To put something or someone at risk. Some things cannot be reversed. 6 million people live in South Florida today. Major agricultural crops such as sugarcane and citrus fruits grow there. Still, a 40-year plan was enacted in 2000 to restore some of the natural flow of fresh water to southern Florida. So it seems like the problem's not completely fixed. Everglades National Park protects 1.5 million acres along the southern tip of Florida. That's a lot of land. The site appears to be mostly marshy and flat, yet that description is deceiving to cause someone to believe something that is not true. An amazing variety of creatures live there. About 360 different sited in the park. Nearly 300 different species of fish have been identified. About 40 species of mammals and 50 species of reptiles inhabit the park. Nature still rules in the Everglades. It remains a place that seems naturally wild, a place worth understanding, appreciating, and protecting. I would agree with that. It seems pretty amazing. Have any of you been to the Everglades? I have not. The Everglades National Park, continues to need protection. I think we just talked about that. Has more biodiversity than ever. Well, remember we said up here that up here it said loss of habitat and hunting threaten the survival of species. So I don't know that they have more biodiversity than ever. Has been restored to its former glory? No. Pep's wagging her tail in the background. It is no longer important enough to protect. That's not true. So what do you think? A. Great work. Look, it says great work. All right, let's go to our assessment questions now. Notice that mine's different here because this is the teacher version, but you're going to actually select one of these answers, just like we always do. This is the same thing we always do. All right, part A. So 2-part question. Which sentence best describes the main idea? Friends, we're not talking about theme. Remember, I know some of us get that confused. Main idea. What is this whole story about? So I'm going to think of it before I even look at my questions. This story was about the Everglades and how they were in the past and how they changed because of how people came and then how they're trying to be protected now. So I'm going to look for an answer that says something like that. Now let's look at the answers. The damage to the Everglades has been reversed since it was made in a national park. No, it hasn't been reversed. That's for sure. B, humans helped improve the land in southern Florida by preventing flooding. No, they damaged the land. C, changes to the weather in southern Florida has damaged the Everglades. No. Humans upset the balance in the Everglades and need to continue to protect it. What do you think? Yeah, I think D is the best answer. So you go ahead and select D. I can't do that on my end. All right, remember part B, which one of these answers goes with part A. So remember, let's go back to part A. We selected humans upset the balance. So we're looking for evidence that supports that claim. South Florida has 2 seasons, a dry season and a wet season. So this one's talking about how the weather affected it. This is not going to be our answer. It is the largest wilderness area east of the Mississippi River. It became the first park in the United States created for its biodiversity. Does that really talk about how humans upset the balance? No. Okay, so it's not B. Today, people understand that the changes made to the land nearly 100 years ago, that's talking about the humans upsetting the balance, right, are jeopardizing the Everglades' future. Some things cannot be reversed. Looks like a good answer, but let's check D just to be sure. About 360 different species of birds have been sighted in the park. Oh, that would be the one that goes with this biodiversity question, or the biodiversity one. Oh, there's not one biodiversity. Okay, well, I thought there was. All right, so we're going to pick what? C. Go ahead and select C. All right, next question. How is the text organized? So this is asking about text structure. So remember we talked about all the different text structures. Don't make me sing that song. It's not at the top of my head right now, but I can find it. Is this cause and effect? Problem solution? No, there is kind of like a problem and a little bit of a solution. A little bit of cause and effect throughout, but is that the way this is all organized? It kind of does go in sequence, and there's some description here. This one's a little bit tricky. So the author describes how Everglades developed over time to be the ecosystem it is today. That's not the whole text, so I'm not going to pick that answer. The author discusses how humans abused the Everglades in the past and how they continue to abuse the land today. They didn't really talk about how they continue to abuse the land today. C, the author discusses why the Everglades exist and then how humans have harmed the land and can help protect it. Oh, that is true. The author expresses how healthy the Everglades are today and then describes how damaged they used to be. Okay, and I think this one's wrong because that's not the order that it happens in this text. They don't talk about how healthy they are and then how damaged they used to be. So I'm going to go with C. Go ahead and select C. All right, number 4. Which of the following describes the problems the Everglades face today? Okay. Past damage and continued human activity affects the Everglades. I would say that's true. B, humans didn't learn their lesson about controlling the water in southern Florida. I think they did, but I think some of the damage was already done. I don't really think that's the best answer. C, humans hunt many of the species that live in the Everglades today. Oh, it did talk about that up here, how they hunted, loss of habitat and hunting. But I think that was before. That was mid-1900s. I don't know if that's today. D, most of the Everglades has been destroyed to make room for homes. Not for homes. It was for farms and businesses and some homes. So what do we think our best answer is here? I think the best answer is A. Even though it was past damage, it still continues to affect the Everglades. Okay, remember you get this question here and you're just going to type hi or whatever. You can send me a message if you want, and then you can click submit and I will be able to see your answers. Okay, well, I hope that was helpful, friends. Thanks for joining me. Remember, if you didn't click the answers along with me, go back to your account right now and put those answers in so I can see that you completed this task. And if you need to rewatch this video, go ahead and rewatch this video. It was great seeing you today. I will see you again soon. Have a